Well, the Peanuts gang hit the theaters last month, and what you might not realize is that there's a Connecticut connection there.
I know. Newington native Cornelius Uliano co-wrote the movie, and he joins us today on CT Style. Cornelius, the movie debuted November the 6th. Fans of the comic strip were so excited. Were you a fan of the comic strip when you were growing up?
I was a huge fan, just like everybody else. You know, I watched the specials when they came on TV, and the comic strip on Sundays, and I was a huge fan. You know, it wasn't until I actually got a little older and started really reading the strips and the books and realized, you know, how much deeper it is.
There's like adult humor in it, right?
Absolutely. You know, Schultz always said, you know, it was made for adults, not just kids. You know, so yeah, always a big fan growing up, and it was just such an honor to work on this film, you know, with the Schultz family. And bring it to the world for a new generation of kids growing up.
It's true. So when did you start writing?
Well, Craig Schultz, you know, 8 years ago, this is kind of a dream of his, and you know, he had this idea to do this movie, and about 5 years ago, he brought Brian and I on to collaborate with him, and so we've been writing this movie for 5 years, and within the last 3 years, in production, you know, making the film, we used 20th Century Fox, who has their animation studio Blue Sky, which is in actually Greenwich, Connecticut.
Okay.
So we did a lot of work there, 20th Century Fox in Los Angeles, and we made a lot of the movie, which is really cool, in Santa Rosa at Creative Associates, right where Charles Schultz drew all his strips. So we'd fly everybody, our main team, out there to really work on this movie. So it was really kind of cool to make this movie kind of outside of Hollywood and write, you know, where Schultz drew all the strips. So it was a really personal film to a lot of people. A lot of people that worked on the film, you know, grew up loving these characters and loving this property, and everyone put their heart and soul into this.
Yeah.
So Mr. Schultz is widely regarded as one of the best storytellers in American history. Was it nerve-wracking retelling his story?
It is nerve-wracking. I mean, everyone working on this movie will tell you, you know, it's a big undertaking, a lot of weight on your shoulders. You know, we didn't want to screw this up.
Right.
You know, we wanted to bring it, you know, to the world for a new generation of kids. And we wanted it to feel, you know, very familiar to those who know the strip already. And we're doing it with a you know, new technology in a way we haven't seen it before. But I think what's fantastic about this is we really honored Charles Schultz's pen line. We made sure that, you know, his pen line is evident in every little, you know, from every little prop to every character in the film. You know, we had to kind of like break the system to make this movie work. I mean, you know, Schultz drew these characters. And basically, like Charlie Brown was, you know, in 4 main poses. You know, profile, quarter right, quarter left, left. Now, when he would move from pose to pose, his features would change. So when he's on extreme right, you know, he has his hair is like a candy cane.
That's right.
When he moves this way, his hair turns into the squiggle. His eyes would change. So it's hard to make a 3D, you know, model on a computer when all the features change. So we had to kind of, you know, make 4 separate models and go from pose to pose. We did this movie, you know, animated it on 2s, so 12 frames per second as opposed to 24, and just all these little tricks added up to kind of give you that old classic look people are used to, you know, seeing when they were growing up on it. But it's also a new, you know, fresh way to bring it to today's generation.
Well, not to mention the Peanuts characters kind of have a really distinct way of talking. You really don't hear that today.
There's a certain cadence to how they speak. There's certain words they use. There's certain words Schultz never used. There's a certain type of humor they had, and you know, we just wanted to honor him in every way possible. So when writing this project, we had to be very true to the comedy and to the way they spoke, and it was a big undertaking. I mean, you know, today's modern day animated films are very different than kind of what you see in Peanuts, and we just wanted to make sure that we stuck to our guns and took this property and respected the property and the brand and made sure that it was something that Charles Schultz would have been proud of if he were to see it today.
And you were able to premiere this in Newington?
Yeah, we did a screening which is really cool. You know, the town of Newington called me up, and we did a screening in Newington for the town, and a lot of my family were there, and it was just an awesome way to kind of get the town together. We raised some money for the town for their extravaganza they do every summer, and it was just a really cool way to just, you know, kind of give back to the town.
Well, you grew up there, right?
Absolutely. Grew up in Newington, from Connecticut. I love Connecticut. I love where I'm from. I come back as much as possible. All of my family are here. My mom and dad are probably watching right now. Hello. Very supportive of me my whole life. I love New England, and I will always come back here. And it's very important to me.
So in 15 seconds or less, what's next?
What's next? Well, we have a lot of projects. There's always irons in the fire. You know, we have a lot of projects we're working on right now, and kind of once you get into the new year, we're going to plan to go out with those into the town, and you know, we always moving on to the next project. So we're really excited.
Good. All right. And which character would you relate to the most?
I relate the most to Snoopy.
You okay?
You know, Snoopy is he's a dreamer. He's someone who is always playing different characters. You know, he's the great writer,
That's true.
he's the lawyer, he's the flying ace, and I grew up, you know, outside playing and pretending I was different people and had a big imagination, and I was always a dreamer. So I always relate to Snoopy
You're
more so than
Snoopy.
any of them.
What about you, Ryan? Ryan, I just called you Ryan. You're my real husband.
God, it's better
Quick,
here than
quick,
home.
quick.
Okay, Charlie Brown.
All right, there you go. Cornelius, thanks so much for being
Thanks
here.
for having
and
me.
congratulations on your
Thank you
success.
so much.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
All right, up next we'll show